Hello and welcome back to another new edition of Windows on Current Affairs, and today we follow up on the expanded plans by the government to be able to effect some safety programs to be able to ease the woes and worries and all the difficulties that are reflected and resulted on the low-income brackets and ordinary citizens after the latest economic reform plans that were taken by the government in order to receive the IMF loan. And if we all remember that the first tranche arrived earlier last week, and that's why we were supposed to lift some subsidies on fuel and energy products and on some of the products in the market, and of course that resulted in some hike in the prices, and of course the liberation of the Egyptian pound against the dollar and foreign currencies, and a lot of other measures that were taken by the government. A little bit too late. It was supposed to be taken a few years ago, but there was some reluctancy, and that's why now the layman in the street have some woes and worries and some difficulties to be able to cope with these latest economic changes. And that's why President Sisi has given his directives to the government and the parliament to be able to effect some safety programs, very strict and sure and certain safety programs to be able to ease those worries for the low-income brackets and the citizens. And we're very delighted to have with us our prominent guest, Dr. Hussein Shoreiba, of course, a financial expert, and Dr. Sherif Khoreibi. He's a member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs and an economic analyst. Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome to Windows on Current Affairs. And we are going tonight to be able to talk about the different programs, or the main program by the government, as according to the directives of President Sisi, Dr. Khoreibi, to be able to ease the difficulties on the low-income brackets. How can we approach? What is the first steps that were taken by the government to be able to effect such a result?
Of course, what happened I mean, about 2 weeks ago, about all of this decrees related to reforming the Egyptian economy. I think it was good decrees, but it was, as you mentioned at the beginning, little bit late. Not years, but some months, because it used to be by early this year. Anyway, I think the effect of economic decisions and decrees, it's already reflected a lot of positive issues. A lot of people now, they started, because, in Egypt it was a very, very rare situation. You find people, they are keeping selling everything and getting US dollars and just keeping it even in the houses, not in the banks and whatever.
Really?
Yes, so this is it, because in Egypt, and I think it's maybe a unique case worldwide, they are using dollar as a commodity. I mean, they are as a commercial issue, and also they are using it as a saving thing, but not in the banks, but inside the house itself. And we can say that according to the information we got from the banks, in the last 2 weeks, I mean, since this new decision or economic decrees started, they collected something like very close to $4 billion US dollars. People, they sold it.
Who are those people?
Sorry?
Who are those
normal,
sectors in society?
Everybody.
And they're investing.
I'm telling you, it is not, even they are not investors. I'm telling you, even like, the drivers or whatever, everybody, they used to sell, if he has a land, or even the jewelry of his wife or whatever, they are selling it off and buying dollars by the value and just keeping it aside because, in his opinion, dollar, the official rate against dollar, it was something like £8 in February. It reached to very close to £18 before the last decrees related to the economic reform in Egypt. So after that, I think we are going to have what we can say is a transaction period. This transaction period, we will find some difficulties. Some people they start, suffering from high prices or whatever. But after, and especially we have a very start for a very good touristic season this year, and also we are expecting to have, because the investment laws, the new investment law is going to be raised very soon, and a lot of people, a lot of investors, I know this myself because I have a lot of friends, they are waiting for this investment law. After that, we are going to find a lot of investors come and invest in Egypt. Number three, the natural gas and that mine of south of Rashid, not in the Mediterranean. It will start also producing the natural gas something between April and July next year, and it will add more or less something like $10 billion. Also, the Egyptians working outside Egypt, they start to have confidence in our banking system here, because now they are trying. In 2010, they used to transfer very close to $25 billion. In 2015, they transferred through the banks less than $8 billion. So that one, it will not be anymore, because now they, one by one, they will get their confidence again in our banking system, and it's easy for them to keep the dollar, or even if they want to sell it, they can get a very good rate from the banks. So all of these issues, it will strengthen our economy situation, and I think it will cause some reduce in dollar value in front of pound. I expect before mid of next year, the dollar value will be around 13 pound per dollar. And I think also the government, they are serious in looking at the prices of everything, especially these imported goods. So we are going to have a reduce in their prices, and it will go on. I mean, since we start, it's something like when you start something wrong, it will make another wrong, another wrong, another wrong, so you reach to a very bad situation. But when you start something positive, something good, so it will also cause some good things, and at the end you're going to find a better situation.
Let me take it to you, Dr. Shoreiba. Of course, among the most important directives given by the presidency, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, is encouraging the small and medium enterprises, which is the local investment, before the foreign investment, to be able to provide a favorable climate for the local investors. What are the factors on which a favorable climate could be provided for the local investors, especially at this time after the IMF law?
Well, if we talk about investing in Egypt, the best people to start investing in Egypt is the Egyptians. So the local investment have to be the first bulk to start with. And that's a very important thing. And it's an issue for small, medium, and large investment. And all the three should combine together as a one unit. It's not isolated from each other. So if you, let's say if you go to the car industry, for example, that's a big, huge industry. You need somebody to fix for you the buttons in the car. So that's a very small industry. And this kind of industry will carry on for the big one and the medium one as well. So the government is right now is giving, for example, the investment law, and that's a new one. It's not for the foreigners only, it's for investors from Egypt also. This will support them. Number two, giving the land to invest in it with a very simplified way. And you have only one window to go for and to start all your processing things, which usually And it was mentioned about Egypt in this before what we have today. It was mentioned that you have to spend from a year to 2 years just to get license and all these things. Right now, it would not take few days or week. That's the maximum they are promoting for this. Even Ashraf al-Arabi have spoken several times about this. The other thing, when you find a place like the Suez Canal, and they are promoting specific zones for export items to be in these logistic zones, and that's a huge one. And the Suez Canal, with the assistance of the leader or the CEO of the Suez Canal, Admiral Mamish, and also Mr. Ahmed, the one who was in charge, Darwish, who's in charge. Both, they have very flexible mentality with this zone. So they will support things which has been done, whether by the medium or the low rank, and the big investment together in having all their products ready to be shipped and in these logistic zones very quickly. It's not, you need a place where to show your product. Where is it? It's not in the very deep of the villages of Egypt. You need them to be very clear and everybody can see it and recognize it. So this is what they are doing. The second thing, which is important, about educating the manpower and teaching them, because our manpower went into a rank which is unacceptable to have them anywhere. So right now they are promoting this, giving them lectures, trainings. All these are moving a step ahead, and this is promoting jobs. And that's a very essential thing. They are doing this. Adding to all this, any project needs electricity, needs power. Right now, we do have sufficient power. And nothing.
Shortages are not like before.
There is no shortage.
But let me also add that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi have also issued today a number of decrees. Among them is a decree dedicated to a plot of land in Aswan to erect an industrial zone. So he's including also lands, allocating it for industrial zones and for touristic areas, also for public utilities. That was included also in the decrees. And some other lands in South Egypt dedicated for mega projects and for touristic areas, since we are talking about.
Yeah, as well as small ones and medium ones.
Exactly.
It's there. Not only this, sheltering the people for going to a new era, a new area. Sheltering is a very important issue. Watch every government is directing the people to go and promote their houses and do their houses, or get an apartment there with a very reasonable prices, not with an expensive way, with an installment through the banks. This is one of the things which you can promote new. But I wish that they start showing this on the TV to everyone, because it's there, it is existing, and we see it, and we read about it, and we watch everyone, and we attend meetings. I have 2 seminars since I came over here, and I watch what was the progress. Some of the people are saying, we don't see something vital in our hand. Why is this? Because I think there is a kind of a shortage in this area with a common language, not supposed to be in even different languages, but a common language to the rank and file, that they can read, they can listen. And I want to say something about, especially about your TV. I'm in the States and I'm always watching the TV. I watch your TV, the Nile TV, and it's in the morning. For me, in the morning. For you, it's in the night, because of the difference of hours. I do accept and get a real, actual meaning and valuable things, not because I'm in the Nile TV. I got it from the Nile TV. Why? Because you're not too commercial. I always watch the others, and I consider them like Fox TV. When you hear Fox TV, you better hear it for 1 second and close it and change the channel. So I'm always watching the Nile.
Trying.
Yeah, and I'm watching the Nile. The other thing I've found that the head of the Nile TV today, she made a very unique step up front. She made a new channel, and it's called Zaman, and it's have a wonderful our culture, the Egyptian culture, and we watch it and we pay for this in the United States. We pay for it to get this channel along with the others. And I'm not interested to see all the commercial things which is in the other TVs and the other channels, because it's a lousy one. I want Egypt. I would like to have and ask, if you don't mind, I would like to have anybody from the government to support, because the people in the United States, whether they are Egyptian or non-Egyptian, when they watch, some of my friends, they are watching the Nile TV, and they recognize this. When they want to hear something, I say to them, don't watch like Fox TV, but watch the Nile TV. Don't watch the other Egyptian TVs, because some of them, they are saying lies, which is not true. And the Nile TV is giving you a true, honest picture. They don't exaggerate and they do not minimize.
Exactly. Dr. Khoreibi, we all know that political instability have been controlled for almost 3 or 4 years now. We don't suffer from political instability unless, for example, France, or unless in Yemen, and places in Europe, even in the United States. We have controlled that. We have come to a plateau, what they call plateau area, which is quite good. But still, bureaucracy and corruption are on the rise and are still enlarged, and they're difficult to be defeated. That is scaring away the local investment. Even local investors are chased away because of the corruption and the bureaucracy. If this is the case with the local investors, how would be the case with the foreign investors with bureaucracy and the corruption? And President Sisi won't be able to defeat all that alone. I mean, successive move of governments after the other, succeeding the other, and nothing effected on real ground to be able to defeat the bureaucracy and corruption.
Okay, first of all, I think what my friend just said about Nile TV, I think you should put it at the beginning of any program. Because it's something good, and you deserve, your channel deserve what my friend said now.
It's our pleasure.
About the corruption and the bureaucracy. Corruption and bureaucracy everywhere, all over the world, any place. I myself in international business for more than 25 years. And I worked in something more than 50 different countries. Corruption is there. The only problem is the laws.
The laws. I was going to say that.
And the seriousness of the government, or of the regime, of applying these laws. For example, if we are talking about the corruption related, essential commodities like sugar and flour and rice, whatever, which we suffered, we are still suffering from the shortage, although it is in the market, but in different stores, they are escaping it, they are hiding it. If there is a serious, follow-up and a serious punishment for people which is doing this, nobody will do. Nobody will do.
Exactly.
In the other hand, if we are talking about the managerial inspection authority, الرقابة الإدارية, this authority, I myself, I dealt with, they are not, you know, up to the level in fighting corruption. I went to them last year with 2 cases hurting our economy and our image, one related to customs and the other one related to the investment. And you know, of course, they are receiving you in a very, very nice way, but at the end, they make the discussion about just put it in the drawers, and even they don't follow up with me what happened. So what I'm saying, what we need, the laws are there. We need a serious punishment because we cannot deal with someone, you know, taking the sugar or the revs from the market and put it in the stores. And
Monopoly.
And making monopoly, and are saying, you know, the punishment is something like he's going to pay
200 pounds.
Something, you know,
Small fine.
which is very funny. But if we say that if anyone does such thing, his punishment is going to be taken to the prison, to the jail immediately, and you know, also not go to the court and whatever. No.
Effective enforcement
Immediately.
of law.
You know,
And we're not going to invent the wheel because this is already enacted in developed countries.
in all developed countries. And even in some countries which they are not developed like us. I'm talking about the Central and East Africa countries, which I'm in that area for more than 20 years now. So the only way for fighting the corruption and bureaucracy, number one, transparency from the government.
Transparency. Exactly.
Everything should be clear because I mean, we don't want to explain to people why you are doing this. It should be, you know, whatever we are doing from decrees. For example, His Excellency, the decrees which, I mean, our president, which he made it today, all of it, it's excellent. And even the good thing in this time is even normal people, not specialized people, not professional people, they understand these decrees. So we should go in this way. On the other hand, the punishment of anyone, you know, going to hurt our people or our country image or whatever, should be quick and very tough. So we have the bonus for good people and the punishment for people which they are not following the good rules, either in trade or whatever. The last thing I want to say also, and maybe my friend he mentioned it, we need to have what we are calling a follow-up mechanism. And now we have internet. Why not we to have a website related all these decrees related to the economy to explain people, accessible 24 hours, interactive, anyone want to, you know, to clarify what does it mean, or these things. He's sending his, you know, question and receiving answer within 24 or 48 hours. That one is going to make people interactive with the government, and at the end, we are going, as I said, to have a transparency. Without transparency,
nothing is going to be
nothing is going to happen, and no development in the country.
Right. Dr. Shoreiba, the decline of the Egyptian pound to the foreign currency, and in particular the US dollar, and the floating of the Egyptian pound to the foreign currency have affected some public panic and affected people unintentionally to shut down some businesses and factories to close in fears that they might stumble or meet some budgetary difficulties. That's why President Sisi The past few days have been focusing on effecting some safety programs effected by the members of the parliament or by the government to be able to ease those worries and explain to the people, I mean the investors, local investors, or the layman in the street. People have stopped buying and selling somehow, though that there isn't any real fears on the ground. How do you explain that case the Egyptian street is in, and at the same time, what are your prescriptions as an economic analyst in a situation like that?
When you say that your currency are being dropped, it's not your currency is being dropped. This is the effect of your work value to others. So the dollar has a value, the euro has a value, the Chinese yuan has a value. So all these values of these things, it is what kind of product you have to sell and gain something. Our products and in selling these things, first of all, they are not up to dated or up to the standard of the international frame. Second, when you say right now $1 is equaling 18 Egyptian pounds. Before it was 5, and then it went to 7, then it went to 8, then it went to 15 or something like this, and then it's open market. We cannot control this unless we control one thing. What's this is quality of our job and our job itself. It's nothing no more than this. This is the very easy prescription. Our job starts from timing, time frame. You have a time frame to do the job, and you have a time frame to do a qualified job, and a time frame to do and proceed the innovation of that job.
That's one of the priorities for the president ever since he stepped in office.
Of course.
The time factor.
I'll tell you something. Mr. President, he's focusing on a very important thing, which is the time frame and the quality of the job and the innovation of that job. So most of the people who are working with him, I think they're about 30 to 40%. They are not up to the standard of his way. Not because they cannot cope. Their way of thinking, it's a very old-fashioned. They need to focus on new ideas, new ways, new things to do it. The only one I love him so much is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He's a tycoon. He's moving everywhere, putting Egypt up to the right targets.
In the forefront.
He's there. Whenever you see something uprising there, it's him. The second thing is your army. When you have a problem, you'll find the army standing over there fixing it. The third thing I love so much is our police officers or the Ministry of Interior. They are capturing right now all these tiny figures coming and want to do something and to make the stability of this country unstable. And they are capturing them like in no time. Three-fourths people are working hard night and day. And that's a very good thing. So what we need is from everyone who is in power or doing a job or a private sector, whenever you have a fear, forget about the fear and start opening another factory. Don't close the first one, but open another one. And make your product equal the standards of outside. Because if you don't make it equal, you will never sell your product, whatever product you are making. So you need to upgrade what it's your standard. Don't close it. The moment you close it, you are loser. And you will lose your shirt and pants. But think positive, go for it, train your people, go outside, find markets. Like, for example, Dr. Khoreibi, he's almost more than 20 years in Africa. And if somebody comes and asks him about, guys, can you help us in how to promote our products in Africa somewhere? He would tell them, okay, this is my prescription. 1, 2, 3, 4, you do this, you're going to get that. You need to do that one to do this. So these people are, most of our businessmen, they are very old-fashioned. They need to go back again to school to study what business should be. He's happy that he have a factory. In the morning he reads the newspaper, goes to the factory, take his car, back again, and that's the end of the game. Factory, when you own a factory or you manage a factory, is totally different. So you need to focus on management work. Work hard.
Managerial skills.
That's the important thing. The other thing I would like to add for, as Dr. Sherif mentioned, about corruption worldwide. By the way, Egypt is 142 in corruption.
We have talked about this in
yes,
the morning, yes.
But I'll tell you something. Israel is 154. Can you imagine? Corruption in Israel is worse than Egypt.
So what's the difference?
No, but I'll tell you something. Israel is supported by lots of groups, and they are the moneymaker worldwide. And they don't want to have it, gone away. They are supporting it until the last moment. But you in Egypt, you have lots of big fightings everywhere, whether from inside or outside, especially economy.
The lack of system.
I'm talking about economy. I will take a simple example. If the government think positive about it, is the government interested in making buildings and housing for the people? Why? It's not important for them to do this. And that's not their job. Their job is only to make the infrastructure, everything is ready, and then you have to give this land or whatever you have done to the people to start building this. And you give them the way, an easy way. And by the way, I'm not interested of giving the land to the people as a sell and buy. No, I would give them for a time leased. For Egyptians should be not exceeding 50 years. For it's 25 years, whether he like it or dislike it. So Egyptians, you have 50 years, you go and get the land, and we have universities in Egypt. And we have in the university the faculty of engineering, and they have the section of building, housing, and all these. It's an engineer who is focusing on buildings only. And you have mechanics, and you have civil work, lots of things, they are there. Every last year, the fifth year, he have to present a project to win his license. And the guy spends about £2,000 to gain this, right? Why don't the government or the governor of Cairo, for example, go and buy these things from these kids with their name and everything is there? Every year he will have at least 15 to 20 projects ready for him, and he can use them for people who want to get the land. He pays the 2,000 plus.
And that brings us to our second question, or the following question, which is, with, of course, in addition to the President Sisi talking to the cabinet members and the Prime Minister on encouraging or pushing over the ongoing projects that are going to be inaugurated. We all know, are very familiar with the projects, mega project that has been inaugurated since the beginning of the year. Still more to come, ongoing mega projects. But he, in particular, gave his directives for the government to be able to speed up with the efforts to facilitate the obstacles that come in the way of local and foreign investment? What are the obstacles that come in the way?
Bureaucracy and corruption again. Because
in addition, of course, to the enactment of the investment law.
What I want to say, because if we are talking about, for example, industrial projects, Egypt doesn't make any restrictions related to have part of the production of any industrial project to be exported. In the whole world, either the United States or any other country, if you have to import either spare parts or part of your raw material, you should export part of your production to cover your needs or the value of your needs of imported items, either is it spare parts or raw material. This is not an Egyptian law. I hope it will be in the new investment law, and which is very strange. Number two, also most of the Egyptian investors, they are starting their projects, and after that, I mean, there is no serious feasibility study for the project before start, establishing it. So after producing, they start looking how to promote or how to sell the production. And most of the projects, of course, they are facing a very big and serious problems because they didn't study the market well, they didn't study the competition situation well, they didn't study the pricing of the products well. So this is another issue. On the other hand, banks, when they are giving finance, the same way, because it's a PR policy, it is not a credit policy. We should have a serious credit policy, because if the bank doesn't finance according to a serious feasibility study, which shows that this project is covering its needs from the hard currency, from its products or its sales. Also, if the credit department in the bank is not be sure, I'm not saying 100%, 95%, that this is a successful project, it means we are going to have the situation which is already there. A lot of factories are closing doors and they stop production. So what we need now is, as you just mentioned, His Excellency, he concentrated in the last 2.5 years in making a very, very strong infrastructure. I'm talking about the physical infrastructure. We have excellent roads, we have power, we have water, and we have the industrial areas, we have everything. But what we still have is the legal infrastructure. We need a serious investment law. And this is
one of the main obstacles.
And this is very funny, because for more than 2 years, we used to say we are going to have the new investment for 2 years and more. We start talking about this new investment law in the first Sharm el-Sheikh conference.
Last
and
March.
Again, 2015, and again they mentioned that
National Youth Conference.
in 2016, and several conferences.
And nothing is effective.
Nothing happened. And there's a funny thing also for 3 investment ministers, Munir Fakhr Abdul Noor, and Ashraf Salman, and now Dalia Khurshid. The 3 of them, they were talking, and we will have. When? It's funny, because in these conferences...
That's becoming a universal question.
When?
A common
because
question.
Nobody can come invest, always any investor, he cannot come even the local investors. I mean,
And
the
everybody's
Egyptians.
suspending his plans on the new investment.
Let us
We
wait.
only have like 3 minutes left, but this question is for both of you.
Yeah.
Nobody can disagree that Sinai is one on top of the priorities on a strategic, vital, touristic importance, even investment-wise importance and everything. And President Sisi was the only president to have linked Sinai with the rest of Egypt and have effected. Even King Salman, on his latest visit, there were several agreements signed on effecting some mega projects in Sinai, including a university. So far, how do you see the importance of building a foundation, or how could we take the first steps? And since we have taken a leap in that at President Sisi's tenure, how can we effect the first step to be able to speed up, like President Sisi style?
Okay, of course, we appreciate what our president has done by linking Sinai with the African part of Egypt.
Exactly.
But in Sinai, there is a very big question mark, in my opinion. You know, there is only one place in the whole earth that God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, come to the earth and talk with Prophet Moses.
Exactly.
This is the Tor mountain. And that place is the only, even Al-Kaaba in Mecca doesn't happen. Even
That's spiritual tourism.
Al-Aqsa Mosque. And how come, and you know, and the Jewish, Christians, and Muslim, they believe in this. So we have something like more than 50% of the whole world. We're talking about 3.5 billion people, very close to 4 billion people. They believe that in a mountain, the Tor mountain in Sinai, God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, come and talk. And this is, how come not to make it, you know,
at least one of the attractions.
No, not one. This
That's
is the
one
most.
side.
This is the most attractive point in the earth.
But let's talk about the natural resources, the geographic area, the strategic,
whatever. But if you
touristic.
if you start,
he's talking about the vital, important.
Yes, I mean, besides to that, if we cannot, we don't have.
You look, Dina, the idea is, you look at Saudi Arabia, for example, Al-Hajj and Al-Umrah. They are receiving every year for Hajj and Umrah something like 10 million people, okay? And they are spending a lot in this. But if you promote that site and make it in a very nice way, you'll make a Jewish temple, a Christian church, an Islamic mosque. In a very nice way, make it, call it the land of peace. And this all,
and it is the land of peace.
It is. So if you promote this idea, I'm sure you are going to receive at least for this area every year, not less than 50 million, not less than 50 million people. So, and of course, to have this, you should develop the area, you should have hotels, you should have whatever. So all of this, of course, Sina, it has its unique positioning in the whole world. It has its natural resources. It has its religious history. It has its also, you know, for fishing. We have the Mediterranean and Aqaba and the Suez Gulf and whatever. And also we have a unique touristic areas for like Sharm el-Sheikh, Dahab, Nuweiba, and Ras Muhammad.
We can name it. We can still
But
them
the most
more
important, and for myself, it's very, very strange, and I can't understand it. How come to have a unique thing, which God come to the earth and talk with Prophet Moses.
And we're not making the use of.
We don't use it.
Unfortunately, you have less than, I mean, it could be 1 second. If you'd like to elaborate your final thoughts, Dr. Shoreiba.
Well, tourism is an important issue, and it brings you big bucks. But you need to have training for these people to start before you start tourism for this. That's a very important issue, because after 5 years, my dear, most of the people who are working in this field have already left that field, and that's an important issue. I support Dr. Khoreibi in this, but I would like to add a very tiny thing. We don't have car industry in Egypt. Why do we have taxation on this? And for the owners of these assembling cars, they have no taxation on them. My dear, this is a big question, big interrogation mark. You need to fix your cars. You need to make industry of your car like Portuguese. When our president went over there, name any brand of cars, when they are manufactured there, at least the manufacturing, at least it's 70% there. Manufactured in Portuguese. You have nothing here in Egypt. You are getting the boxes, put in, assemble. So you have only a mechanic and an electrician and a guy who's building up the car. Nothing, no more.
Unfortunately, our program came to an end, and we have to end it here with you, Dr. Sherif Khoreibi, member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs, and Dr. Hussein Shoreiba, of course, the business investor and financial expert. We'd like to thank you very much, sir, and this is where we end this edition of Windows and Current Affairs. Thank you very much for joining us, and please do join us again next week. Until then, that's a goodbye.